I thought I was building a family with the man I loved, until I discovered his disturbing and possibly incestuous relationship with his mother. My boyfriend, 23M, and I, 22F, have been dating for 6 months now. We were friends for 3 years before dating. I am also pregnant. He has been an absolutely amazing boyfriend, but I am noticing weird things with his mother that are really creeping me out and making me question this relationship and this pregnancy. I have been pretty much living with my boyfriend, under his mother's roof, for about 4 months now. I sleep here every single night. She is a single mother and in her 60s. My boyfriend's dad is remarried, and he has told me that since the divorce his mom has been depressed and never been quite the same. They divorced when he was quite young, maybe around 7 years old. She still cries to this day about the divorce and infidelity as well as his father remarrying, and I don't think she has ever truly gotten over him. She does not date and hasn't since the divorce. My boyfriend had told me multiple times in arguments with his mother she'll constantly compare him to his father, and say things like "You're just like your father, you don't care about me." Also want to note that my boyfriend looks exactly like his father. I noticed pretty early on that it seems like she takes out her feelings about her ex-husband on my boyfriend. When we first started dating, he would say that his mother is jealous that she's not spending as much time with him anymore, and she's been like that with all of his exes. I notice she doesn't make much of an effort to talk to me, she is a bit awkward, and when she is home she pretty much just stays locked in her room. He says she likes me, and she is always kind when she talks to me, but for some reason my intuition is strongly telling me otherwise. There have been multiple times where we pick up food and he asks her if she wants anything and she says no. When we come back with food she'll send him texts or say to him personally that we only care about ourselves and not her. I noticed these red flags early on, but brushed it off. Here is where things get really weird and twisted. I don't want to believe this is what's going on and I feel crazy for even having these thoughts, but it's hard to find another explanation about things that I have heard. One Saturday morning, everything was going as normal. My boyfriend and I woke up together, did our morning routines and decided to play a couple games on the PS5 together as we normally do on weekends. I was feeling tired as I am pregnant and the hormones have been making me super exhausted, so after a couple of games I decided to take a little nap. He turned off the PS5 and put a YouTube video on the TV kind of loud. He said he would make me breakfast while I napped, so I dozed off as he left the room. It sounded like he went straight to his mother's room and shut the door. Her door is creaky and I can hear every time it opens as it is right next to his room. He often goes into his mother's room and talks to her for a while, so I paid this no mind and continued to rest. I am a very heavy sleeper, by the way. Not sure how much time passed, but I woke up to the sound of banging on the wall, very loud. I then heard the door open and him say, "Oh, so you..." And I didn't hear the rest, but it almost sounded like, "Oh, so you want to be bad, huh?" Or something along those lines, and the loud banging continued, now sounding like it was in the hallway right outside the door. I heard mumbling that literally sounded like the way he talks to me when we have sex. I sat up in bed confused, and listened for a couple more minutes. I could have sworn I heard her like gasp or something. At this point I was getting freaked out because it literally sounded like sex noises. I got up and sat in front of the TV, which is next to the door, and put it on mute. Right after I did that the banging stopped, almost as if they heard me awake and stopped doing whatever they were doing. I then heard shuffling and his mother say "Lie," and he said "Yes, Mom." I heard him go downstairs for a few minutes, then he came back into the room with a bowl of cereal. Mind you, usually when he makes me breakfast it's pancakes, bacon, eggs and hash browns. I straight up asked him what was that noise. He looked super nervous and then said I was arguing with my mom. I asked about what and he was stuttering nonsense and said he was arguing about a Christmas present. I thought this made so sense. I asked him if the argument got physical because I was hearing loud noises and he said no. I was pressing him, asking him what that could have been. Was he moving furniture or something? It was very loud. He began pacing around the room nervously and said quietly, "I am filled with regret." After like an hour of pressing him about it and him telling me it was just an argument, he didn't know what noise I was talking about, etc. I dropped it because I literally thought I was going insane. I know what it sounded like, but I didn't want to believe that something so twisted was going on, and the fact that they were doing it while I am in the next room, sleeping and pregnant. I was literally uncontrollably shaking, extremely disturbed at what I just heard. It was clear as day what it was, but I genuinely thought I was maybe losing it. Later that night I brought it up again and implied I think something was going on, or maybe the argument got physical and he shouldn't be afraid to tell me. He then was like, "Want me to ask my mom if we were hitting each other?" He then goes to his mom's room and asks her if anything went on and was telling her how I think they got into a physical fight. He comes back to me and tells me his mother said that it's just pregnancy hormones and I'm overthinking, and then she proceeded to text him, "We don't live like that," which he showed me. I was finally starting to move on from this weird encounter and convincing myself I was going insane. Until last night. Again, it was a Saturday night and we were laying in bed watching a movie together. He leaves to go to his mother's room, but this time he locked the door behind him, which he has never done before. I decided to go to the bathroom and realized the door was locked. I thought that was weird, but went back to lay down and watch the movie. I muted the TV and again, I started hearing weird noises. Creaking of the bed, Loud bumping again, and it lasted for about 10 to 15 minutes. I also heard gagging noises, and the way the bed was creaking sounded like literal sex noises. I was shaking again, crying and literally feeling like I was going insane. Then I hear the door unlock, and he comes back into the room about 20 minutes later. I ask him what was going on and why was the door locked, and he just looks at me with this blank stare like a deer in headlights and then proceeds to walk out of the room and pretend like he's doing something on his phone. I was so hurt at this point and I was asking him like WTF is going on, and he was gaslighting me saying I was hearing things, but he looked so nervous and just kept pacing around and ignoring me. I finally just gave up because I felt like I was losing my mind. I really don't know what to do anymore. I'm scared that something disturbing is going on with him and his mother. I don't understand how he can have me in the house and do that when I'm literally pregnant with his child. I feel so stupid and betrayed and I don't know what to do. Final update. Hi everyone. I've been getting a lot of messages to update. I'm safe now, but a lot has happened since I last posted. Thank you for everyone's advice. My suspicions were correct. It's been about a month since I posted and so much has happened, so I'll try to summarize it the best I can. The night I made the post, he ended up breaking down and crying uncontrollably. He confessed to me that his mother has been sexually abusing him since he was a child. He said he was terrified to tell me because he didn't want to lose me and he was afraid of what would happen if I knew. He said he's been trying to stop it for years, but every time he tries, she threatens to hurt herself and guilt trips him into continuing. He said the noises I heard were real. He admitted that she manipulates him constantly and he feels like he can't escape her. I was devastated. I held him for hours while he sobbed and told me everything. It all made sense. The awkwardness, the way she isolates herself, the way she reacts when he spends time with me, the noises I heard. I felt sick to my stomach, but I also realized that he was a victim in this. I begged him to let me help him. He finally agreed. The next day, while he was at work, I packed my things and went to stay with my sister. I told him I loved him and that I would support him, but I couldn't stay in that house. I helped him contact a therapist and gave him resources for abuse victims. He's been in therapy for 3 weeks now, and he said it's the first time he's ever talked about it out loud. He's angry, ashamed, and traumatized, but he's trying. As for me, I've decided to keep the baby. I know it's going to be hard, but I want to break this cycle and give my child the healthy, loving family they deserve. My boyfriend and I are still together, but I told him I need boundaries and I cannot have his mother in my life or my child's life. He agreed. He's planning to move out soon and cut ties with her completely, though it's going to take time and therapy. I never imagined I would find myself in a situation like this. It's heartbreaking and horrifying. But I'm trying to stay strong for myself and for my baby. I hope my boyfriend continues therapy and gets the help he needs to heal from this. Thank you to everyone who encouraged me to trust my gut. You may have saved not just me, but my child too.